evening, ladies and gentlemen, and all between. Jason, my brother, how you doing?
I'm fantastic. How you doing, brother?
Good, man. So Australia has been very supportive of our show. So I'm happy to say that Mr. Metalhead Fred Bonanno found us an act from down under.
Sure did.
And he will come on and introduce our guest in just a moment. But you might otherwise know her as Cassidy Paris. That's an awesome picture, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
But, yeah, man, so how's your week?
Oh, it's good. Yeah, it's all going good, yeah. Nice short one after the holiday, you know.
Yeah, you look a lot better.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I'm definitely getting back in the swing of things, so.
Yeah, I got a cough of brewing, and Ma got COVID yesterday, so far, so good.
Yeah.
But, all righty, yeah, let's bring on Mr. Metalhead Fred Bonanno as soon as I can find the graphic. There we go. Mr. Metalhead Fred Bonanno. What's up, dude? How you doing?
Happy 2024, gentlemen. How is everybody?
Happy 2024.
You're looking much better, Jason. Glad to see you, even though your wall's falling apart back there, but you look fine.
Oh, look at that. Yeah,
you got some kind of weird, like,
you need some mortar.
Is that your sleeping cap with the fuzzy ball on the end?
Yeah.
I love that band, Fuzzy Ball, by the way. They're a great band.
Fuzzy Ball.
There you go.
2024 is here, and we have a special treat tonight. We're going to, as you mentioned, Vince, the land of kangaroos and koalas, land down under Australia. And we're going to talk with a rising new star, singer, songwriter, Cassidy Paris. Cassidy just released her debut album, New Sensation, on Frontier Records, and became the youngest artist ever to sign with that prestigious label at just 20 years old. I reviewed the album for Metal Temple and gave it a well-deserved 10 out of 10. Cassidy definitely has some music in her bloodline. Her father is Steve Janeski. He's the guitarist for the Australian heavy metal band Wicked Smile.
Right on.
So let's welcome to Creativity Talking, Cassidy Paris.
Cassidy, what's happening?
Hello.
Hi, guys. How are you? Thank you so much for having me on.
Now, the Australian accent is my favorite. I do voices, and ever since I was a little kid, the first time I heard someone from Australia, I was like mesmerized.
That's kind of how I feel about Americans, you know. Americans and Canadians have the best accents in the world, in my opinion. Don't tell everyone in the UK that. But I've been trying to, I have two new band members, and they're from the UK, and I've been trying to teach them the Aussie slang the last couple of weeks because they've just moved over to Australia. And yeah, I mean, what are your favorite Aussie slang terms then?
I have a favorite word.
Okay,
so I always put my MapQuest on Australian accent.
Yeah.
Right? But I watch a few podcasters for like comic books and movies, like War Stew and a couple other guys who are from Australia.
Very nice.
And 13.
What was it?
That's my favorite. 13. Like they're saying 13, but it's 13.
13. Yeah.
My
That's
son
not
walked
even
in one day and I was
that's
just
actually
playing
how
it
I
on the
pronounce 13. So yeah, I feel like there's so much more. There are so many funny Aussie terms, like, and I didn't even know that they were funny. And then I say them to people overseas, and they're like, "What is that word? I've never heard it in my life." Like fair income. Do you know what that? Have you heard that word?
Fair dinkum, yeah. It's like, everything's good, right?
Yeah. But I feel like that's generally a pretty Australian term. I mean, Aussies might get me on this. I don't know if you guys say that. Do you guys say that?
No, in Chicago we say cool beans, or used to say cool beans. That was kind of like the.
My dad says cool bananas, cool beans, cool bananas. Same sort of ballpark. But I'd like to say that the Australian accent's pretty cool, but. Maybe I'm biased.
Right.
I may be old school. I still say groovy. What the hell?
Groovy, yeah. We say wicked in our household as well. I think it's a bit of a again, a little bit biased because my dad's band's called Wicked Smile, but I'll say like wicked, like that's cool, basically.
Oh yeah.
We used to use that back in the day. Wicked, gnarly.
Yeah, gnarly is a huge one in Australia. Actually, that's a huge one. Yeah, especially in like the warmer parts of Australia, like Queensland. A lot of people say that.
Right.
Excellent. So before you guys get any further, go check out Cassidy's website at CassidyParis.com. Fred, let's begin the interview, sir.
Well, as I said earlier, I love the album, and I got a lot of questions, kind of how the album was created.
Yeah.
I'm just going to go down my list of questions, and one of the first questions I got is, you do raise a lot of social issues in your songs, and you have a song "Stand," which is about standing up for yourself as a young woman.
Yeah.
And I know you're an also active campaigner for Metalheads Against Bullying, which I never had heard of until I researched you a little bit. So
That's fantastic.
how did you, and you, it looks like you play a lot of schools around Melbourne delivering that message. How'd you get involved with Bullies Against Metalhead? I'm sorry, Metalheads Against Bullying.
Yeah, well, I mean, the start of this story is a bit of a sad one, but like when I've always been raised in a household. My childhood was fantastic. Basically, my parents are the most supportive parents in the world, and I know a lot of people can't really say that. So I feel very lucky and feel very grateful that I've had that kind of upbringing. So I was always raised on the idea that, you know, you support everyone in whatever they aspire to do. But when I started high school, it didn't really begin like that for me. I was raised on classic rock and heavy metal and listening to that style of music, and people just didn't understand the style of music I was listening to. And then when I started writing and recording and playing shows, I got hassled big time in high school. And I know that a lot of musicians obviously go through something similar, but you know, it was quite difficult for me. Like I was 13, 14 and coming home from school just not understanding why I couldn't make friends, or people didn't want to like speak to me because of the style of music I was listening to. And I just think it actually drives me insane that people still are like this in schools. You know, like we're living in a time now where everything is equal, and you know, like everyone should be valued. And it just blows my mind every time I think about it. And people still tell me about the horrific things that kids and people in schools say to each other. The teachers weren't even supportive in my school, which was a huge bummer. You know, like I'd go to speak to the people that you would feel so safe speaking to usually, and they wouldn't give me anything really. And so
kids,
I kind of
kids can be mean little creatures, man.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they can.
You know?
Yeah, exactly. I would literally go to school sometimes and people would be playing, like, they'd be playing Talk About It, the first single I released, and mocking me and, you know, hassling me for that. And, you know, you walk into a classroom and everyone's like watching your video and laughing, and the teacher's doing nothing about it. Like, it's a pretty ruthless thing to go through when you're 14 years old. And
probably from kids who don't even do chores at home or have a part-time job. They're giving you shit. You already recorded an album. Get out.
Yeah, well,
yeah. You definitely are getting the last laugh now. That's for sure.
Yeah. You know, it's crazy.
You know what? Like, I feel like it's kind of come full circle as well, because it's interesting to see the people that were giving me a hard time in high school will write to me and say they're so proud of me these days, you know, and I see them in my Instagram messages and I'm like, wow, like, you know, how the tables have turned. But, you know, I mean, I guess like everyone deserves a second chance, and so I'm like very open to that, but it's, you know, a difficult thing to digest when.
Oh yeah, if you realize that you were a shitty little troll as a kid, and you know, I mean, you can really, you know, kids don't have their emotions dialed in yet. I mean, most adults don't even have their emotions dialed in.
Yeah, exactly. And I think it's also like, my dad was always obviously in this rock community, in this rock scene, and he always stood out from a crowd because, you know, of the way he, obviously the music he listened to, the way he dressed, things like that. He played on stage, and my dad was touring when I was younger, you know, like not a lot of kids could say that their dad was on tour, you know, in Germany. So like, there's a lot of differences in my household to the general teenager, but you know, I feel like he always raised me on, you know, be unique and you know, be authentically yourself, you know. And people didn't understand that because we're living in a world of clones, unfortunately. So I wrote Stand about standing up for yourself, not only as a woman, but just anyone. I've spoken to a lot of guys that have resonated with that song, which is super cool as well. And I felt like it really needed to be on the debut album because it had helped a lot of people from what I could tell online. And people write to me now even saying, I just heard this song, I resonated with it so much because of my experiences with bullying or something I've been through in my life. And I feel like the great thing about Stand is that it doesn't have to be bullying. It can be any obstacle you're trying to overcome as well. So people can kind of make it their own in that way. So I really pushed to have that one on the album because I thought it had a very important message to myself and to other people.
Yeah, what really amazed me is, 3 years ago we went through that little plague period. And, me and Jason have had this ongoing conversation about, they spent 25 years building up these anti-bullying programs in class, then to have all those people who set it up become the biggest bullies on the planet ever, like disgustingly so. It's never a bad thing to have your own opinion. It's okay. Your opinion. Yeah. Look, it doesn't hurt anybody.
It's true.
We're supposed to be different.
There's an opinion. There's a difference between an opinion and hassling someone, and that's the line that a lot of people didn't know they were crossing in high school with, like myself. And it's so funny because our leaders and our captains in the school were the ones that were the bullies, and the teachers could not see through that, which blew my mind. It's an interesting environment to be in high school, and I'm very glad that I'm out of it.
Yeah.
Oh, no kidding. I'm like, well, hey, wouldn't you like to be young again? No. No, I would not. No.
My daughter is works with youth groups, and I'm always amazed at some of the stories of 12, 13-year-old kids that want to hurt themselves or hurt somebody else or are depressed and I look at it this way. When I was 12 or 13, now I'm a heck of a lot older than anybody here. I'm in my 60s. But when I was 12 or 13, my biggest worry in life was where to find 10 other guys so we could go play baseball all day long. And we were outside all day long. Unfortunately, the new generation, and it's not their fault because progress happened, they don't have that connection we did. We were outside playing all the time. We didn't have 700 channels to choose from. We didn't have cell phones. I think that's got a lot to do with it. And that's why I think what you're doing is amazing. And your bio, I think I wrote on here in the review that you're on a mission to inspire a new generation of younger fans to not only listen to rock and roll, pick up a guitar instead of a phone.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's so true because how many times you go out to a restaurant and there's a family of 6 there or 5 and they're all on their phones. Right. Nobody's talking and anything, no communication.
Yeah, me and my boys.
It's a shame.
Me and my boys, when we'd go out to dinner, we'd always be, we actually like to talk to each other.
Yeah.
And so there's no phones out, and mom's on a tablet, dad's on his phone talking to his secretary. The kids are playing Gran Turismo or whatever. It's like your family's right there.
I know. The amount of times I'll go out with my family or like a couple of my friends or even the band, like one of my bassist in the band, we would like kind of play this game on tour sometimes and just watch people that were just sitting on their phones and not doing anything else and not communicating. And I think that's, it's really like, it's sad that people like can't communicate in this day and age with the people that they're sitting with. Like you've made this decision to go out and socialize with the person. That's what that's what you're supposed to do, ask them about their day or, and I mean, I sound kind of like an old soul in that way, but like, I just think it's just, phones are a very scary thing in a way. Like I even am aware of it, if I'm on social media too much, you have to take a break and, remove yourself from that environment because it can get scary. Like I remember when I was in high school and I was going through bullying and everything, like Snapchat, which is an app like Instagram essentially. Right. And I used to be brought into group chats and put into group chats just to hassle me, specifically hassle me about the song or hassle me, keep going, she's seeing it. Like, and it's just so like, I don't understand how, people must have really, really sad lives if they're,
Well, 'cause
demoting.
they're hiding. They get to hide behind their phone.
Yeah,
They're
keyboard
really tough
warriors.
then.
Keyboard warriors, exactly. But like you said, I feel like that experience has really made me stronger as not only a person, but like as an artist. I really know who I am and what I deserve, and like it's a great thing that's come of it, I guess.
Yeah.
Like I got like online gaming. I don't like to play on the internet. I just like my games that I would play.
Yeah.
My son's like, oh, they're pretty much all like this. They're online now. And I quit from getting bullied from like 12-year-olds, man. Like I'd get shot like every third of a second. I'd come by, and they just kept on doing it. And I'm like, these 12-year-olds are vicious.
I know. It's right. How can kids be so mean though? Like it.
Well, they obviously are seeing it from their parents.
Yeah.
Well, exactly, and that's the thing. It's like they're obviously seeing it from someone, and my mum, she's a teacher, so she's kind of like she's gonna hate me for saying this, but like the black sheep in the family. She doesn't play an instrument, but she works with kids, so I kind of speak to her a lot about it, and she's like, there are some things that I see in the schoolyard that I'm like, how are people learning these things? Like it just blows her mind.
Yeah. I was bullied as a kid in Catholic school. I was the only kid who had divorced parents.
Yeah, that would have been hard.
Dude, they were ruthless, And even the nun was like, okay, children, over the summer, Vince's parents have thought it was better to act, they know better than God and the Bible and blah, blah, blah. But they got a divorce. Everyone, repeat after me. Vince doesn't have a father. The whole class. I'm like,
wow.
I'm going to work this bitch when I'm like, 30. I'm going to haunt her in her dreams,
Exactly.
Like really, you're an adult and you're totally, you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. And you know what? People are so nitpicky as well. Like anything that they can pick on that's different to their, to their what they think is, supposed to be, they will target and they will just, nitpick at, which is just, it's, what a lot of artists in this day and age, I feel like are missing, because they're very, all these artists are clones of, of each other. And that's what I kind of want to be, someone different, to kind of inspire those people to, to be that unique. You've had your Pinks and you had Avril Lavigne and things like that back in the day, but there's not really anyone like that for the rock scene that's that bridging artist. So
where's our Joan Jett? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Exactly. Or Lita
Queen
Ford,
of rock and roll.
Well, I mean, Cassidy, the first, as I've been listening to your record, the first thing that hit me, and of course, we're older, so the 80s, that was our decade. I mean, and listening to your music, it took me back to like, having like Sandy Soraya or Vixen or and somebody your age, it's kind of uncommon now, to hear those influences in their music, and I loved it. I mean, I think that's fantastic.
Thank you. Yeah, like Soraya, like, well, all those bands are like huge influences on me, especially like Joan Jett. I play Joan Jett's song in my set at the moment, and I love it. Like I've always loved her, and I loved the Runaways as well. They're a huge influence on what I'm doing, and like I think that's really missing from the mainstream. So I hope that it kind of cuts through to that audience, because it's there's no one doing it at the moment.
I've seen Joan Jett 14 times.
Really?
Yeah,
that's awesome.
One of my favorites.
Joan Jett never really tours in Australia, so I haven't seen her yet. But when I get to America, I'm going to see her.
Oh, she's great. And there's another thing to be said too. Like people dress a certain way, but so many of the newer, more homogenized music that's coming out that you had just mentioned previously, they don't have an attitude.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. I know there's nothing going on, or like I can't stand when I see an artist and like, I mean, this is just me personally. I know a lot of people do like this, and that's great, but like, there's no show going on. Like the person's just standing in front of the mic, or like, I'm like, what's going on? There's no vibe here, and I feel like that's something that I was raised on, and I always saw my dad move on stage, and he used the stage like, you know, it was his home, and like I feel like the stage is my home. So that's something. The live show for me is something that brings the music to life, and you want to give people a good show. That's what they paid for. So, you know, like I think that's
like
really
now with
important.
YouTube, 15,000 people can play that song.
Yeah,
but you're gonna only find 3 playing it with feeling.
Yeah, exactly right. Exactly.
You know, and it even sounds better if you're not playing it right.
Yeah.
But you got the attitude thrown in. I mean, you know, you need the dirt and the grime, everything.
Yeah.
You do. And like I don't know who you guys are into musically, but like I'm a huge fan of Skid Row, like I said before, and bands like Heat as well. And Skid Row just got a new singer called Eric Grunwald from Heat.
It's amazing. It's amazing.
He is awesome. One of my huge influences. He uses the stage so well. He's such a great singer, and he's a great frontman as well. So, like, I learned from him. Last year I toured, not last year, actually 2 years ago now. I'm in 2024. I've got to adjust to that. I toured with nationally around Australia with Heat, and their new lineup with Kenny, the new singer, and he was just on fire as well. Like I've learned from all those artists. Those are artists that I grew up with, like Heat and you know, Hailstorm, Lizzie Hale.
Oh, Lindsay
on me as well.
She's a monster.
Yeah,
she's amazing.
Well, I was going to say, and I hate in my reviews to compare like artist to somebody because I think that's you're creating your own sound. If you had to put a gun to my head and ask me who would be the closest comparison to you, Cassidy, I would say Lizzie. Because you sing with the same intensity,
I really appreciate that.
You sing with that same power, but yet you can get real delicate and passionate as you did on what was the song? The one ballad that I loved.
Here I Am.
Here I Am.
Searching for a Hero. I love Searching for a Hero. And you remind me a lot of Lizzie. I don't like to throw comparisons out there in my reviews because I don't think that's fair to the artist because you create your own sound.
Right.
But and she's got so much energy on stage. And I can just see from your videos, you got a lot of energy too. You're all over the place, and I love that. You looks like you're a natural born showman.
Well, you know,
I guess.
I really appreciate that. Yeah, thanks.
I thought, you know, when I was listening to your new record, immediately I said I would love to see you tour with Hailstorm. That would be like a perfect bill, you know.
I would love to tour with Hailstorm. I'll give you a quick story on Hailstorm. My dad, he introduced me to Hailstorm when I was about maybe 8 or 9. So maybe 10 or so years ago. And he, I came home one day from class and I said to him, I've got to make a poster on my favorite band and I'm doing it on Hailstorm. There was no ifs or buts about it. I'm doing it on Hailstorm. So that night we spent all night drawing up this this double neck guitar that Lizzie plays on stage, and I brought it in the next day and I showed them the I Miss the Misery video, and I think my teacher was going to she looked like she was going to explode and she was like, and we stopped there because it was so, I think it was I Miss the Misery or was it Apocalyptic? It was one of the two. But Apocalyptic has a bit of swearing in it, and
pretty much all her songs do.
Class wasn't having that.
It's good thing you didn't do Here's to Us. That one's got quite a few swear words in it. That might have got you expelled.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm educating the class on what they needed to be educated on. So yeah, I mean, to tour with Hailstorm would be an absolute dream. So I hope I get to do something like that in the future.
You know, so what happened with our podcast. We started doing tunage, we started doing reaction videos and stuff, and then before you know it, you know, it's a couple of dudes in their 50s all commenting on bands that basically have almost no male members in it, and it just became it wasn't anything, it just became that way. And there's so many great players all around, you know what I mean? We don't mention it because it doesn't need to be mentioned anymore.
Exactly.
They're just out there kicking ass, you know what I mean? And like, oh my god, look at this band.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Baby Metal, Bandmade, you know, The Warning, like all these, you know,
The Warning
international.
is great,
Oh my god,
Yeah. Have you
guitar? The younger generation is holding on to the guitar because we missed it there for about 20 years.
Have you, Cassidy? Have you got into or know who Sophie Lloyd is?
I do. Yeah, she just did a song with Lizzie Hale recently.
Yeah, Imposter Syndrome. She's got an album out with every song on it is with a different artist, and quite a few female artists on there. And it is just a killer album.
Yeah, it's
killer.
Great.
I tell everyone to listen to me. I tell them check this album out. Every song is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
every song.
It's good. Yeah. I listened to that when maybe the end of last year. Yeah, it was great. Really, really good.
Yeah, she was great.
And
now,
it's
you mentioned
good to have so many women doing it. Like it's great for the scene. It's great for young women that want to get into it, like young girls that want to start playing guitar or singing.
Yeah.
Like that's exciting for us as
me and Jason are saying all the time, it's like, okay, we'll take these 3 chicks and put them up against anybody. Yeah.
I mean, look at Nita Strauss. What an amazing guitar.
I love Nita. Nita.
I've met Nita before, and she's one of the most down-to-earth people I've ever met as well. She's incredible.
I did a meet and greet with her, and she could not be nicer. She could not be nicer. So nice. She's amazing.
But that's what you want in an artist. Like, I have this discussion with the singer of Wicked Smile all the time. It's like, I can't understand how artists wouldn't be nice to their fan base, because they're the ones that actually supported you and got you to that point. So without them, you'd be nothing.
Right.
And it doesn't kill you to be a nice person. It's like if people say that they're happy, acting like that to fans, it's like, are you actually a happy person? I wouldn't be.
Right.
Being nice.
Well, that's what I saw an interview with Lizzie Hale on the Metal Show a couple of years ago, and she backed up Ronnie James Dio. And she said Dio made sure he came up to everybody that was in the backup band, which was her, and thanked him. And she said, that's amazing. And then she noticed he would speak to all the fans. And she said, how come you do that? And he said, he put his finger up there, and she goes, when Ronnie James Dio does that, you listen. And he said, you're going to meet a gazillion people in your career. And every time they meet you, that's going to be the first time they meet you. It's going to stick with them forever. Just be nice to your people and your fans.
Oh, absolutely.
Well,
I think that's a huge point.
Jason, you worked with Dio.
I did. Dio was a sweetheart of a guy. I recorded Sabbath in Tampa, and I think it was 91 at the Sun Dome. He was with Black Sabbath on the Dehumanizer tour.
Yeah,
and,
cool.
And I was out there, miking up the drums, and it was before sound check, and of course, being a huge Dio fan since I was a kid, I'm walking off stage and I see this little guy coming towards me, and I was like, oh my God. And just, came up and was talking to me like we knew each other. And he said he had to go. So I thought he was just kind of like, yeah, kid, I was like 19. He was like, no, he came back and got me because he wanted to see the truck. We had a mobile recording truck, we did live.
That's cool.
Came back and I took him to the truck, showed him, we showed him around and got to hang out. And he was just the most down to earth, amazing guy,
Yeah,
sure.
He was a huge loss to this world when the world lost Dio. But
best voice ever.
I hear story after story about Ronnie James Dio, and there were always positive ones. So that it just shows what a good human he was,
He was amazing.
And what an incredible voice and what an incredible stage person.
And now is like a unique time in rock and roll because we have a lot of people aging out.
Yeah.
Like the legends,
they're getting old,
Yeah, and that's just the way it goes, So there's this big void of space to fill. You know what I mean? And as soon as all those guys retire, it's not like the people coming up can charge $900 to go, some of it's gotten just ridiculous with the, the cost of touring, they're screwing the band every different way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
That never makes sense to me, because I always say, if something happened, and obviously a lot of the artists, it's not their choice what they charge and stuff, but you always want to make it affordable so people can see your show. You want everyone to be able to experience it, and I think that's so important. Even like overcharging for merch and stuff, that just
and it's generally not it's not the band members.
Right.
Yeah, it's generally the management and things
has nothing to do
behind
with
that.
that.
That's exactly
The
right.
motors.
Ticketmaster is a huge culprit in this whole thing. I just got some tickets to see Judas Priest in a couple months, and you look at the price of the ticket and then the fees and all. You go, what? It's ridiculous. But I have to see Judas Priest again, so you pay it.
I mean, back when I started seeing shows, I mean, it was like, $9 to go see like a major headlining act in an arena, and it's like I used to see a ton of shows, like we all did. And now, I mean, I'm lucky if I get to see one or two a year. I got to like budget for it,
in high school, I had a part-time job going to school. I was working at Kmart, a box store, and then, but I could go see the Scorpions, Motley Crue, and Van Halen all in the same month, and still have enough money for my shenanigans and my hot rod car. And
you always got a T-shirt too. I mean, it was just like it wasn't that much of a stretch,
Exactly. Well, I went to Def Leppard not long ago, because Def Leppard is like my holy grail band. I love Def Leppard. And last time my dad went, and we tried to get tickets. Actually, I'll tell this story, but he's not going to be happy about it, because I always tell it. We tried to get tickets, but we were playing a festival in Chicago, actually. And we missed the time that tickets went on sale, so so we couldn't get tickets. And then we got back to Australia, and I said, if there is a person that offers you a ticket, you cannot take it, because I'm obsessed with Def Leppard, and I want to see Def Leppard with you. And the day of the show rolls around, and he's like, someone can't go. And I'm like, just go. He got me a t-shirt, so it made up for it. But, I went to see Def Leppard for the first time in November of last year, and I think I paid something crazy, like $350 or something for a ticket. It was like, it's
it's the new way,
Yeah. Well, exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. But I didn't realize that you have to like spend your life saving on tickets for
I mean, it's, by the time, like, if you get, if you're a couple, you're taking someone out on a date, I mean, it can get to $1,500, $2,000 really quick,
Right.
Exactly.
And for young people who don't have the dough, that's a pretty steep climb.
Sure.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely.
And and a lot of people are playing the track, which is I can understand, like, for technical stuff, like helicopter sounds or and stuff, but
it's very interesting, all the little bits on tour that you don't really like factor in, but it'll be interesting to see where we go from here, because I just don't think people will be able to afford it at some point, like if it keeps going up.
Yeah, like, are the bands going to now just be regional going forward? Because it's, as far as transportation, that's the only thing that makes sense,
Yeah, it's very true.
Because we're joking around because there's a lot of power trios out right now, and that's probably out of economically.
Yeah, potentially. Very true.
I mean, that's two to three people less.
Yeah.
That you have to take on the road,
Exactly. That's very true. Good point. Well, we're looking at US dates at the moment, actually. And for 2024 and 2025 potentially. And we're trying to look at financially, like, how it's going to work and stuff, because touring, it's expensive at this level and stuff like that. But hopefully, like, so we get to plan some festivals and stuff. We've done some festivals in the UK. I've done festivals in the US before, but not any solo shows. So we're looking to do that, hopefully. So that's an exciting thing to look forward to.
Are you touring with Wicked Smile, or you're on your own?
It'll probably be separate this time. The idea for the UK that we've both been touring. I mean, where things tee up, it is logically smarter because my dad's obviously in Wicked Smile and he's in my band, so it's kind of a bit smarter for that to happen. But yeah,
yeah, it makes sense, right? Yeah. Well, great. So I'm recently I saw you were in the UK touring. Are you still currently on that tour, or are you back home now?
I can't see you guys anymore. I don't know where it's gone.
Yeah, what happened?
Vince
You got the graphic up there, Vince.
What have I done?
Where'd Vince go?
I don't know. We're gonna have to give him some grief. Everybody bust his chops when he gets back.
Don't talk to the man behind the curtain.
Sorry, I had to get some more coffee. My throat starts bugging me from the coffee.
Right, there we are.
There we go.
I didn't want to just like vacate. You know what I mean?
No problems. You were saying about the UK. What was the question about the UK?
Yeah, I was. I know you were recently touring there. Are you still in the UK, or have you finished that up and you're back home now?
I just recently finished it. Yeah, and I'm back home now. The UK was incredible. Like,
yeah,
I think it's always wild that like to play packed out. Like, obviously, I've only been to the UK once prior to this tour, and to play packed out shows. And I played this festival when I played on the main stage for the first time, and I was the opening act, and there was a line right around the block for people to come in for my show at 12, like at midday, which is just insane,
to get that many
turned
people
21 and we hadn't even put out the debut album yet, so people were getting their hands on the album exclusively.
You got a word of mouth going.
I begged my record label. I was like, please, because people were going to be really disappointed if they can't, and they were so kind enough to allow that on the tour. So that was really cool for the UK fans to have that. And like a special thank you to people for coming out to the shows and stuff for the second time. But yeah, we had such a blast. This time I didn't get sick, so that was fantastic. It's always hard when you're a singer and you're touring in the winter. It's a little bit rough, but we did everything we could. The singer of Wicked Smile and I, and we the other band members always joke that our room, because we room together, the two singers, they do like put the two singers in one room together because if we want to go out and have a drink, then we don't need to speak to them.
He's amazing, by the way, too. What a voice that guy's got, right?
Yeah. He's got an incredible voice, and we're very particular. Like, we will get the Dettol spray and like anti, do all that in the van and the different rooms and stuff. Right. We're a little bit funny like that, but even like the little demister things that you can put the oils in, we took one of those on tour, which we were because we both got sick on the last tour.
Oh wow.
And on the tour prior in the UK, and that was our first tour of the UK, and it was rough. It was hard to sing through a really, really horrible flu. Like, like when you can't talk when you've got the flu, it's like imagine trying to sing when you've got the flu.
Absolutely. Yeah. So are you using any hot water and like honey with lemon?
Yeah. The Manuka honey is being sculled, and so is the water. Lemon tea, everything, like everything you can possibly think of. Those little like vaporizer things, we had those. It was a mess the first time, but it still panned out pretty well. Like we I feel like we did really well the first time, but last tour was fantastic. It was great.
Yeah, I caught a couple of live. Luckily somebody in the crowd did some live vids from a couple of gigs over there, and it sounded great. You guys are great live.
Thank you. Yeah. It was so much fun, and the people, we spoke to people after the show, and that's like one of my favorite times. Like after the show, after you got off stage and you got to speak to people, about the show and about the album, and it was really cool to be able to speak to people in person about the album as well. So I feel like everything kind of aligned really well touring whilst the album was just coming out. So I was able to do a lot of in-person interviews as well, which was fantastic.
Yeah.
Now, did you? Go ahead, Fred. I'm sorry.
I was just gonna say the singer you're talking about from Wicked Smile, Danny Ciccati.
Yeah.
Ciccati. I saw a video of you and him doing "Close My Eyes Forever," the Lita Ford.
Yeah.
Well, how long ago was that, and how cool was that to sing with him?
That was awesome.
It was such a cool song to sing with him, and we're going to continue doing it for a little while, which is exciting because it had such a good response. Like we haven't played that yet in Australia, but we sing "Stronger," the Wicked Smile song. My dad wrote "Stronger" about me and my experiences with bullying. It's on the debut album, and Danny was like, "Since the song's written about you, do you want to hop up on stage and sing that together?" And we were like, I was like, "Absolutely!" And this before I started doing like majority of the Cassidy Paris stuff. So it kind of introduced people to me as well, which was fantastic. Right. And after that, we were like, well, we've been doing this. Let's do something else together because it really worked on stage. And a lot of people were really kind in saying that our voices really gelled together well as well. So we were having a think of what cover we wanted to do. And I said, hang on, like Ozzy's a huge influence for you and Lita's a huge influence for me, and why don't we do Close My Eyes Forever? And he was like, absolutely. Like, and Danny is down to do basically like anything. He's so cool, and we recorded it, and we put up like a little video for it, and people online just went kind of crazy for it, and they were like, you need to play this live. And then we were doing a festival in the UK called Planet Rockstock, which is Planet Rock Radio's festival, and they were like, and will they do Close My Eyes Forever? And we hadn't had it in the set, and we were like, well, now we've got to kind of do it, don't we? So we arranged it, and we got Dave to play guitar, and it was kind of more of an acoustic-y, like stripped back version on stage, and I think it sounded really cool.
Awesome.
Right on. So how's the pressure covering a tune and releasing it?
There's definitely pressure there, especially with a song like that. Like that's such.
I love cover songs. I've always loved people that I think it's a great thing.
Yeah, like I especially like an Ozzy and Lita. Like Lita's such a big influence to me, and Ozzy's such a huge influence on Danny and his the music he loves and he's been a part of. So yeah, it's been really cool to have that kind of play out on stage every night on the tour. And we would do that one in my set, and we do Stronger and the Wicked set. So yeah, it was really super cool.
That's great.
Well, it sounds like you have a great team around you. You're protected. You know what you're doing. Your head's on your shoulder, and not hovering over a mirror with the straw.
Yeah.
Sometimes
it's so important.
People now know, like, know that you can have 40 years, 50 years of this.
Yeah. Well, like I think, like I said earlier, like it's for me, it's all about learning, and if I'm continuing to learn and continuing to grow as an artist, then I'm really happy doing it. And at the moment, the music's making a lot of people really happy, and it's making me really fulfilled as an artist and as a person in general. So I'm really rapt to be able to do this at the moment.
Yeah, you just it's you can only go up from here. You know what I mean?
Thank you so much.
So I wanted to ask you, did the new album? Did you write everything on the record?
I wrote majority of the record. There's 2 songs that are written by the Avril Lavigne songwriter, which is insane to me.
Oh, wow.
Like I'm a huge Avril Lavigne fan as well, because she was kind of that bridging artist for the early 2000s. And Cliff Magnus, and he's written so many fantastic things. He wrote Addicted, and he wrote he had a part in writing Here I Am. There are a couple of other songwriters on that one as well. And that was really a really cool thing to, say that he wrote on my album. But songs like Searching for a Hero and Rock and Roll Hearts, I actually wrote by myself. And that was like a massive thing, like a massive milestone for me as an artist as well, to have a record label say, the songs that I've written personally by myself without a co-write is a good enough tracks to be on the debut album. So that was a big thing for me. But Danger and a bunch of other songs are co-written with Paul Lane in Danger, and he's now in the Defiance, and he's done a lot in the music industry and continues to. And I'll always write with him. He's a fantastic friend of mine, and he's taught me so much from a young.
You met him when you were 11, correct?
Yeah.
So he's probably been an incredible influence through you,
Yeah.
plus your dad, of course, but I'm sure he's been an incredible influence, both musically and probably from the business point of view as well in the industry.
Yeah, definitely. Like I wrote in an interview the other day that Paul has really seen me grow up, you know, like he, the first time I met him, I think I was actually 8 or 9 when I met him, because he came over when he wanted to do some solo shows. My dad's band, the Radio Sun, backed him. So they were his backing band, and that was a really cool experience. And I kind of was a little bit of like a sponge. I just wanted to take in everything from him because I was such a fan of Danger, and at the time he was doing his solo stuff as well. And I love the Stick It In Your Ear record. That's one of my favorites of all time. So yeah, the next time he came over, I kind of expressed an interest in songwriting, and he said, yeah, I'll take you on and mentor you. And that was like a massive moment for me and for my father as well. You know, like he's a massive fan of Paul Lane and all the stuff he does and continues to do. So we're very grateful to be such good friends with Paul. It's a very, very cool thing.
Yeah. Well, I will say
he's on our radar to get him on here too. I've been in touch with him, so fingers crossed on him too.
Yeah. I'm sure he'll come on the show. And he's the most, like, on top of him being such an incredible, like, I call him the rock and roll Mozart, and he always laughs when I say that, but it's actually true, because he's just literally the most talented person ever. Like, he is an incredible songwriter and incredible just musician in general, but above all, he is the nicest person out there, and that is such an important thing. Like, my dad and I pride ourselves on working with good people in the industry. It's a very important thing to, you know, like who you're working with, and you know, it pays to be kind to people, and we'll only work with good people. So Paul's perfect for that.
Yeah, I want to get back to your songwriting a little bit too, but I'm curious, since we're talking about other artists. I know you toured with John Karobi, and I had a chance to meet John and spend a little bit of time with him last year, and he was here in Chicago playing a concert. He is one of the nicest and funniest guys I've ever met. He must have been so much fun to be on to tour with and to hang with.
Such an underrated artist too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, what a great voice. God.
Yeah, incredible voice. And like I loved watching his show, because he is, like you said, one of the funniest musicians I've ever come across in my life. And we'll sit in the back room and just, like, he'll tell stories about, you know, either Motley or things like that. And it's so funny to hear his perspective on things and things that have happened in the industry that he kind of told a little bit of a backstory on that I didn't know. So John Krabi and I keep in touch, and he's a lovely guy as well.
Yeah, so. I just got his book. I can't wait to start reading.
I want to read that as well.
Yeah, I'm so stoked. It's gonna be great. Daisies, man.
Daisies are bad.
Yeah, that's a great
100%. Yeah. I remember seeing that. I think that came out when I was on tour or right after, and I was like, "Whoa, this is really, really cool!" Like, I went into the other room, and I was like, "Dad, this is cool."
Yeah. When you talk to him next time, tell him we want him.
Yeah. I was a huge Union fan too, man. With Kulik.
Yeah.
Oh, what a great band, man.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
We're gonna have to give Cassidy a homework assignment now. Touch base with all these people.
Yeah. So I'll be contacting Paul, Karabi, my dad.
You're gonna be our agent.
Yeah. Yeah, no,
awesome.
For sure.
So what's 2025, 2026 looking like? Or 2024, 2025, yeah.
Well, a lot of shows, which is exciting. A lot of people, we're teeing up things internationally at the moment, which is massive for us, because you know, like I said, we're looking at the US, we're looking at the UK is something that will happen this year, which is insane. You know, like 3 years in a row doing the UK is incredible, and you know the fact that there's so much demand for us to keep coming back is really, really cool. And like we're looking at other international dates as well, and then things in Australia, like in February I'm doing Glam Fest in Australia with a bunch of artists. Like we're doing, I think Slaughter's doing it, Heat is doing it. Yeah, there's a bunch of people doing it that they're, you know, big heavyweights in the industry, and people that have influenced me my entire life. Janet Gardner is doing it from Vixen as well.
She was on the show a few months ago.
We had her, yeah.
She's totally
great.
cool.
She's fantastic.
I can't wait to meet her. I've spoken to the guitarist in her band, and
her and Dustin,
she's really lovely as well. So I can't wait to meet her in person.
Yeah, you're gonna enjoy it. They put on a great show. I'm
excited. I'm very excited now. Yeah.
So are you always writing, or are you just focusing on the touring cycle at the moment, like to get that going, get road ready and all that kind of thing?
Yeah, it's so funny you ask. A lot of people have asked me the exact same question, and at the minute I came off the plane and jumped back into my hometown, we started writing for the next thing. So we've already got a massive bank of like ideas for what's happening next with the Cassidy Paris band, which is hugely excited. I'm writing with some really, really cool people as well. So some great people in the industry that I've never written before, and that I've, you know, been so inspired by for years. So, I'm feeling very lucky at the moment as an artist. And
just remember to breathe every now and then. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Because there's a lot going on.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. No, I go to the gym, and that's my time to like recoup and you know, listen to the music I want to listen to, and you know, listen to ideas. Sometimes I listen to a lot of ideas back at the gym, because you know it's you kind of have to take a step away from the studio sometimes to actually, you know.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
See, when I work out, when I go to the gym, I have my headphones on and my playlist going, and just want to let you know you are officially on my playlist now.
Ah, awesome. Fantastic.
Yeah,
Thank you.
People go, this isn't where I'm like, just put it away for 2 weeks and come back and look at it in 2 weeks, and you'll figure it out when you hear it.
You kind of have to reevaluate sometimes, you know.
Yeah, let it breathe a little, you know.
Yeah, exactly. Come back, let it sit, and then, you know, fresh ears, I like to call it. But yeah, it's been a really cool couple of months for us. Like, you know, obviously putting out the debut and having such an awesome response, and for us as well. Like, I feel like there's a lot of people that are from the younger generation as well, like from my generation, that are listening to this music and really digging it, you know. People that love all that old school rock, that are listening to something, they're like, it's so good to listen to something that is, you know, a modern day take on, you know, the 80s. So that's super really, like really, really cool for us, because, you know, that's kind of what we want to do, and that's our mission, really.
You know, I just, myself personally, you know, my musical taste, I couldn't just go somewhere and watch a guy with a laptop and a turntable.
Yeah, neither.
Like, where's the sweat and the glory, you know?
Exactly. Well, every time I come off stage, to give you like, I'm just like dripping with sweat, and everyone in the band is like, the guitarist, the bassist, the drummer is like the most like happy guy. I always say it to him, because I have two brothers in my band. One's on bass at the moment, and he plays a little bit of guitar as well, and then one's on drums. And I say, you are the happiest person, the happiest drummer I've ever seen in my life. And then the other brother will go, well, what about me? But you know, he plays a different role in the band, I tell him. So it's exciting to have some young people on board as well.
Sure.
Absolutely.
Well, when you get over here, I hope you know, you play somewhere, you know, where we can all, you know, catch you live and all that. That would be great. You know?
I'm sure there will be places where you can catch me live for sure. So are you guys all in separate areas?
Fred and I are in Chicago suburbs.
Gotcha.
Same town, and then Jason's in South Carolina.
I'm in the southeast.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. Well, Chicago is a place we're definitely looking at. So that's and I've been to Chicago before. I played at the at a festival called my dad played at a festival called Rock and Skull. I don't know if you're aware of that. And then I played at a melodic rock festival, and that was fantastic as well. So we can't wait to come back to the States. It's been a while, and
we hope you get back here.
Yeah, Chicago's one of the best rock towns in the States.
Yeah, I completely
that's why Lollapalooza's here, because we have literally the best crowds, best live albums, a lot of them.
Yeah, I agree. And people are, you know what I love about Chicago? I love the deep dish pizza. I'm sure everyone says that.
Well, that's the sponsor of our show, actually, Cassidy. Funny you mentioned that.
Really?
Giordano's.
No way. That's the place. Giordano's Pizza. My dad's definitely going to come on your show now because that's his favorite food ever.
When we're in town, we'll
send him a coupon.
Yeah, just don't eat the hot dogs in Chi-Town, though. They're garbage.
Get out of here. No,
we have a little
fight. A lot of stuff on them, you know.
I'm from New York originally, and he's from Chicago, so we have this hot dog fight all the time going.
Yeah, hot dog and pizza
fights too, because the pizza in New York and the pizza in Chicago.
Pizza's not meant to be folded like a note.
Pizza in New York is cracker thin.
Like, this is not a burrito. This is a pizza, but they're both good in different ways. But I'm sorry.
There's the crust. There's the New York crust right there.
Right. Yeah, the cheese is supposed to be a topping, not like nuclearly fused with the bread.
Don't listen to them, Cassidy. They don't know what they're talking about.
Yeah. Well, now that I know this is the sponsor, I need to get to Chicago so I can have some pizza and have an in-person meeting with you guys.
Yeah, we'd love to see you in Chicago. Hopefully you can make it. It sounds like you will. So we'll look forward to that.
Yeah, definitely. We will be back to Chicago for sure. So yeah.
So Cassidy, what was the first song that gave you the aha moment as a kid? Like, was it seeing your dad play, or is it,
seeing my dad play was a huge one, like a massive one. I've seen him play so many gigs, and there's been I just always wanted to get up on that stage when he was on that stage. So that was kind of like a huge aha moment for me. But for me, even like meeting artists all the time for me was a huge one. Like, I met a bunch of musicians that just inspired me. Even Danny Ciccardi is a huge one for me. Like he is someone that was really supportive of me and my career since I began. And there's this photo when I was really starting out, and I'm holding the Wicked Smile debut album, and he's holding my first EP, my Broken Hearted EP. Right. And it really resembles my relationship with Danny, because I'm supportive of Wicked Smile, and I always have been, and I always will be, but he's been a huge supporter of me as well. So I'm very, very grateful for that man, because he's kind of like my second dad in a lot of ways.
Your like that background is like the perfect idea for a TV show. All your rock and roll uncles, you know what I mean?
Yeah, well, exactly. They can just follow me around with the camera and watch me. Yeah, exactly. Well, you know what? Pitch it to someone. Pitch it to Netflix, and we'll make it happen.
Absolutely. But it just makes sense if you think about it. Like, people would love that.
Yeah,
people would love that. I feel like, yeah.
Oh, young Jedi.
Yeah, there was a really good TV. It was a series. It was on Paramount Plus recently. It was like an 80s series. I can't remember what the name of it was, but
metal something. Was it the metal one?
Yeah. That was the one, and it had Snake, Sabo, and Janet Gardner.
Metal Year. It was not Metal Years, but it was kind of like that, Jason.
I can't remember what it was called exactly, but I watched it, and I thought it was so cool. And I was like, why isn't there other things like this? Because everyone watched it, and a lot of people were saying, oh, that I didn't know this happened. And it's so cool to hear people's day-to-day lives, like musicians' day-to-day lives. I just love watching that kind of stuff.
Sure.
Oh, for sure. I just watched Willie Nelson and Family on Paramount Plus. And 4 episodes, and he's country, but he's rocking. I mean, you can't get any more rock and roll than Willie
Willie's
Nelson.
he's a legend, man.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's part of the furniture.
Yeah.
It was really cool, and it was the first one that worked with his team, so he's in it, and his sister's in it, and it's really well done.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. There are so many avenues and stuff for things like that, and that's why I like as well, like on social media and stuff, like to put out a lot of like behind the scenes things from tours and stuff, because I love watching that kind of stuff. So I assume that
to be 90 years old plus and be relevant, like in a huge way, that's pretty cool.
True.
You know what I mean?
I know. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't think Britney Spears or anyone like in that kind of thing, because they're not, you know what I mean? They're performers, they're not necessarily band.
Yeah. Exactly right.
That's what made Behind the Music, that series, so great.
Right.
Yeah.
When
exactly.
MTV used to play music and they had those shows on, those were great. I love to see the backstory of everybody.
And after you got back from the second break, everything was the same. And that's when cocaine entered the picture. They lost their money. They lost their homes.
Right.
And it was crazy back then.
Well, it was the 80s, man.
And I say this all the time. It's cool to see now getting, back into the music thing. It's cool to see the younger bands mostly have that under control. Like, they know it's a career choice. It's not, I'm in a band.
Right. Now let me wreck myself.
Exactly. Well, that's a huge thing. Like, even, for instance, my dad is the biggest, like, he's a massive like advocate for that kind of idea, because his favorite drink is orange juice and has been since 1980 or whatever. Like, he was in a band and he never drank at all, which is
it's amazing.
Insane. Like, I know, and it's very rare as well. Like, people say to me, "Oh, like, can I buy your dad a bottle of alcohol?" I'm like, I wouldn't, because he won't drink it. And they're like, but he's in a heavy metal band. Like, what's going on? And I'm like,
not everyone.
Yeah, exactly. But no, and I feel like that's something that my parents have really instilled in me as well. Like, for this is a huge opportunity you've got here. You need to use it wisely, and you need to keep your head screwed on the right way, and try to take advantage of it, and see where it takes you. It's important.
Yeah, absolutely. That's fantastic.
And it's always good to have a voice in your own path,
Yeah, exactly. And it's good to have, like, I've got a very good community of people around me. Like, I like to say a lot of the time that I don't have like a huge group of friends, but I kind of, the friends I have, I really value and trust. So that's, how I prefer to have my group smaller and, very trustworthy, rather than have a bunch of fake friends that you don't trust or believe in, because that's when people start to get hurt.
Yeah, me and Jason were college roommates.
Yeah.
Oh, no way. That's cool.
That's why we started the show.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, the show started out basically as a way for us to like hang out, with like 900 miles between us,
Yeah.
Having a few cocktails and just talking shit and, jokes and stuff, and
That's awesome. I love that. That's a great success story. I love it.
And the other guy who comes on frequently, Rob Armstrong, he was also my roommate, and then Jason's roommate after I left Florida and went to Hollywood. Yeah.
I love hearing those type of stories. That's a feel good story. That's what that is. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Speaking of a feel good story and it being the holidays, I didn't tell this story, I don't think, this year, so let me tell it. So I'd had Baxter. I was working on a chicken commercial, Tyson chicken commercial.
Ooh, okay. Yeah.
And so we had built this big, monstrosity. I'd work like 42 days straight, like 18 hours a day. And I got hurt. And basically my back, my hip, and my legs, I did have surgeries and all this stuff. I heard all that stuff. So when I was rehabbing, I'd be hobbling with my cane, the halfway point to my goal was West LA Music that services like commercial one side, and then so Bob Dylan and all those guys use that shop in LA. And So this guy's standing there, and it's the day before Christmas Eve. He's like, "You come with me." I'm like, "Okay, well, I'm not going to argue." So I'm hobbling with my cane, and he points into the piano room, and he comes in, and the people split like the Red Sea, you know. And he's like, "Yeah, go sit on the bench." I'm like, "I'm not sitting on the bench." Like, no, sit on the bench. It's okay. I'm like, I'm not sitting on the bench with him. Like, oh, sit on the bench. And then he whispers in the guy's ear, and the guy goes, "It's okay, man. Sit on the bench." So for the next half hour, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Frosty the Snowman, all these, great Christmas. At the end of it, I got tears running down my face after a half hour, and I go, "Thank you, Mr. Wonder, for the best Christmas present I will ever have." Stevie Wonder.
No way.
Very cool.
Oh, that was so cool.
Wow. That's so funny.
But all right, well, thank you very much for coming on the show.
Yes,
and
thank you.
People can find you on Facebook, and are you on
Instagram?
Instagram, and you're with Frontiers SRL.
Correct.
And New Sensation.
Yeah.
I love the logo too.
Oh yeah.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That we had an artist work on that, an Australian artist, and she's fantastic. And she has done all my artwork. And the album artwork was done by a guy called Justin that works for Frontiers, and he was incredible in like executing like what I had vision wise for the album. And I just feel like it's very like when you look at that album, you're like modern take on 80s rock. That's exactly what I wanted for it, and it and the photo, one of my friends is a fantastic photographer. His name's Tom, and he took that photo. So but thank you so much, guys, for having me.
So
fantastic, and I can't wait to come and have Chicago deep dish pizza with you guys.
Right.
Hopefully this
slice for you.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And anytime you got something coming out you want to promote, feel free, give us a buzz, and we'll put you on, no problem.
Love to have you back on
the pod family.
Anytime.
Thank you so much, and I will definitely I'll keep in touch with you guys, because I'm gonna let my dad know that he'll definitely want to come and have a conversation about the deep dish pizza.
And we're a fan here at Creativity Talk, and we support young artists and we follow them. So it's great for us to watch people grow, because we've seen this happen over our lifetime, so we kind of know.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's really.
And once we've had you on, we want you to come back every so often. It's not.
I will. You tell me the date, and I will come back definitely. Yeah, for sure.
Well, good luck.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys. It's been great.
Yep.
Awesome.
Thank you, Cassidy.
Have a great night. I'm sure it's night over there, right? Because it's
yeah.
Awesome. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you for the review as well, Fred. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. You did all the work.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Bye-bye.
See you later.
Bye-bye.
All right, and that was Cassidy Paris. That's going to be cool to watch her over the next few years. Go through the roof and everything.
Sure will.
Definitely
amazing talent.
Yeah, has a direction. You know what I mean? It's a.
And the album too. I mean, the songs. I mean, big hooks. Great melodies. It's fantastic.
Absolutely. Well, that's it for this week. Next week, who do we got coming on, Fred, on next week?
Next week, we're going to have Nikki Stringfield. She just released a new album. She currently is with the Iron Maidens as well. She's toured with Femme Fatale, but she just has a new album out, and it's really good. I just reviewed that as well. It's a kick-ass. She does all the singing on this one. She doesn't have a guest artist, but and she's married to Lita Ford's guitarist, Patrick Kinnison.
Oh.
So I don't know if he'll be joining us, but she will.
Right.
So there should be another nice interview, and I'm sure it's going to be awesome.
Right on. All righty. Well, welcome into the new year. And
New Year
2024 here, Creativity Talking is going to be a cool one, because we're coming for you. Rock and roll. All right. Love you guys.
Love you guys.
See you next time.
All right.